Hey folks, I just want to give you a few more reminders as we get ready to head into the weekend. As you have an assignment due this week, and I'll also peek really quickly into the one that's coming up in the next few weeks, just to get you a little head start on that. So, again, this is week 7. Congratulations. At the end of this week, you'll be halfway through the semester. And if you are a full-time student, that means you are 75% of the way done with your bachelor's. So, congratulations. Well done. So on this is the population engagement hours, and we talked about this quite a bit in class. This is where you've gone out and engaged with the population that is your focus for your vulnerable population that you've been working with the whole semester. So again, this could be 12-step meetings. This could be going out and meeting with people individually. This could be going to different facilities. It's engaging with people who are either part of the population, or if you have a population that's incredibly hard to access for the entire time, then you can also have part of your time be with people who work with that population. So, for example, if you chose incarcerated minors, you could work with juvenile detention people and talk to, or if you're working with incarcerated adults, you can talk to people who work in the jail, nurses who work in the jail, police officers. There's a lot of ways to go, and if you're still struggling for how to find different resources, don't forget this link right here has broken down by population and county, just dozens and dozens of resources out there. You do need to be adding this to time log, but in addition to doing the 5 hours and adding it to the time log, you need to be submitting a reflection piece, and this is what it looks like. So these are the 7 questions that you're answering, and it needs to be a thoughtful answer, a thorough and thoughtful answer. This isn't like 2 or 3 words or like a little blip of a partial sentence, but this is often for students a handful of sentences, a paragraph or two. Kind of dig deep on this. This isn't, believe it or not, something that we're forcing you to do because we thought you needed something to do with your time because you were sitting around bored. The population engagement is to get you so you start putting real faces and real stories with these populations. Now, if you are a member of the population you chose, you already have faces and stories that go with this, but it's allowing you to hear other stories and see other faces and learn about shared experiences versus unique experiences. And for some of you, you chose populations that you've never encountered before. And so this allows you to interact with those people as well. And so make sure you're doing this, make sure you're kind of digging deep into some of this information so that you're really reflecting on what you've done. Because as we move forward, having those faces put with it is going to be beneficial in some of the future projects. And having some of those stories bounce around in your head that you've heard is going to be really beneficial when we get to big project that's weeks 10 through 12. You do not need to submit your time log to me yet. Make sure you add these to the time log, but I'm not receiving your time log just yet. You're only submitting the answers to these 7 questions as a Word document. You don't need to have any APA sources in here. There's no peer-reviewed journal articles that need to be backing up any of this information. And if you've gone to a place that involves the word anonymous in it, then, I mean, you can still give me the specific location, day, and time of the meeting, but obviously when you put in the time log, you don't have to put the individual's name and home phone number if they are an anonymous organization. There are still ways for me to verify if there's any question at all. So that's what's due at the end of week 7, which is this upcoming Sunday. And again, if you've done more than the 5 hours, if you've done above and beyond by an extra 5, where you are qualifying for the bonus points, you can go ahead and submit those at this time as well. But I won't be issuing the bonus points until the end of the semester when I look at everyone's extra credit at that same time. So just go ahead and make sure that this part is in by this upcoming Sunday. And remember, there's no late work accepted in this class unless you've already discussed with me pre-existing circumstances and we've already worked out a deal together. So I also want to look ahead really quickly. There's an assignment that you're doing weeks 8 and 9 combined, and I know that that may be really tempting to put off to the end of week 9. And technically in this one, you can do that and just have a really miserable night later. But I recommend looking ahead of time. You're going to be filling out a grid, and let me open up the exact grid really quickly, just a moment. So in this grid, let me switch that on over. This is where you're looking at the different levels. So there's a difference between a health provider and a community partner. This is already covered in one of the other videos in the class that's embedded in this module. So listen more there for exactly what you're supposed to be doing. If you have areas here where you're not filling out at least this many sources, you need to state in there that there are no other resources available at that level. And please be aware that I am very well versed in what's in our community and what's available throughout our state as well as at a national level. Community health is what I do. That is my background. Community and global health is what I've done for the last 15 years. And so if you're stating that something doesn't exist in there, that we don't have it, and I know that we do, that will not go favorably for your grade. So please do the work. Look at this. Google will get you a lot of this information. Above and beyond Google, if you go to the week 8 and 9 resource page, let me scroll back over to that. It's embedded in your module. There are tons of websites here that can guide you to different areas, to different resources. Also, if you look at the your community service hours page, there's a link on there that talks about all the different places you can look and all the different places you can go. It was also a link in the population project that you're turning in on Sunday that takes you to the 211 page that breaks down a wide variety of resources by county where you can look individually at your area and you can look at the state. So this can be done from the privacy of your home, wearing pajama pants, but it needs to be done. So please go in and get that done. The second part of that is the part that's due week 9. And again, you don't have to submit this on week 8 and then again on week 9. You submit the whole thing at the end of week 9, but I'd recommend on week 8 starting to fill out that grid so you can see where there's gaps. And then week 9, you're going to come down here and you're going to answer a few different questions. If you look right there at the bottom real quickly, this is a 10-point assignment. So again, this is 10% of your grade. Please do it and do it well. You're going to look and say, what gaps are there at these different levels? You also are going to talk about, are there certain groups that where it's not accessible? When you get down here, as far as like, are there certain individuals that are excluded? So for example, there's a youth homeless shelter, and that's awesome if you're between the ages of 13 to 18, but what if you're 12? Or there are some really fascinating places for domestic violence where they can provide shelter, but not all of them provide shelter to men who have been the recipients of domestic violence. And as we all know, men also are victims and survivors of domestic violence. So talk about that a little. And then here's this big part. You do need to have citations and references. Please do not put this off. You're creating an ideal organization to best meet your population's needs. If money and logistics were unlimited, what would the organization do to support and advocate for your population? So I want you to really dig deep and create this ideal organization. What services would they provide? Who would they provide it to? How would they get the services to people? You do need to look and say, okay, these are actually evidence-based services. Now, that does not mean that it has to be a peer-reviewed journal article. That can be things like, hey, I've looked at Youth Future's website and I see all of these great services as a form of evidence for what is provided for homeless individuals. That is my form of evidence that the following services are included. So I would also include those in my ideal organization in addition to these others that I found through websites for Lantern House or that I found through websites for the homeless hospice in Salt Lake. So you're compiling together, but you do need to have citations and references where applicable in this. If this section right here is done and there are no references or citations, you will not receive full credit for this section. So again, this is a 10-point assignment, but I want you to look down here and see, so the grid is worth 4 points. The gaps in the system, that right there is worth 3 points. And then that creating an ideal organization at the bottom, that is 3 points with the citations and references in and of itself. So please make sure that you aren't putting this off to the last minute, and please don't take it lightly. This is an opportunity to start thinking through concrete ways you could advocate for populations and seeing where those gaps are. Our system has a lot of flaws in it, so this is where you're going to really dig in and see how you can address those and start thinking through that at the level that you feel is most appropriate. So don't put it off. Dig in on this, and by doing this, that gets you through the end of week 9. Now, if you are doing the sharing in a school, or if you're sharing about your population in the community, please also be aware, and I'll send out another reminder, probably 2 more reminders between now and then, that you do need to have this community partners contract signed by the end of week 9. It's not worth any points, but you cannot do the presentation unless that is in there, and that is largely to cover you. So you'll go down here, you're going to download this agreement, you can fill out your content. When it asks for your professor's email, please put my Weber email of kathleencadman@weber.edu, and I am the contact person that they will contact. And so you need to have that submitted back to me with a signature from the person either in the population organization that you're presenting to about your population or to the school where you're presenting. And you need to have the names of the people who are presenting with you on this contract. So those are due by the end of week 9. You still have a little over 2 weeks on that, but just to give you a heads up so that you're well prepared. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I look forward to talking to you all again soon. Have a great day.